What up, guys? The Bench Boys are back, and we are doing the rankings of the 32 teams remaining in March Madness this year. A lot of upsets already, especially in the 11-6, 12-5 area. But we do have the St. Peter's, but they are going to come in last here. 32nd, pulled off the miracle OT win against Kentucky. And can they repeat their performance against Murray State is going to be the big question. Just because, you said it in our last video, it seems like they always spend their whole energy against 2 seed. They pull off the upset and then come out flat. I don't see that happening entirely because Doug is going to have another great game. But I do think Murray State will win this game and knock the Peacocks out of the tournament.
All right, we got Richmond at 31. Still a scary team, but they just don't have enough scoring to be ranked any higher. Really held Iowa down, but I don't know if that was more Iowa struggling or Richmond's defense. And they're going to be in for a tough matchup today against Providence with Providence's defense.
30th, we got the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Beat Alabama yesterday, and it wasn't even really that close of a game. I know 14 points seems like a blowout, but Alabama never really had a shot in the second half. It seemed like Notre Dame just kept the same lead they had in the first half, really kind of coasted to the victory, but they get rewarded with a tough task in Texas Tech with the best defense in the country. We're going to see how they can handle that, but they've won 2 games in 4 days already, and it seems like a first 4 team, which is Notre Dame, has made it to the Sweet 16 in consecutive years now. And they look to repeat that process.
All right, Michigan just ahead of Notre Dame at 29, and they just went off in the second half against Colorado State, kind of out of nowhere. Everyone probably wrote them off, including myself. I wasn't very confident, but a huge second half, scoring almost 50 points. And I said it in our last video, I think they match up fairly well with Tennessee, so I wouldn't be too surprised if they pulled off that upset. But either way, this is a team that could, be top 15 in these rankings or 32. You just don't know which team you're going to get, so that's why they come in at 29.
28th, we got the New Mexico State Aggies, pulled off the upset against UConn. And I think the big thing is they shot 64.7% from the three-point land against UConn, which led them to that win. They're going to need a repeat performance against Arkansas, who likes to run the tempo and play great defense. But I did say New Mexico State matches up well, and this could be another double-digit seed that advances to the Sweet 16. Don't be too shocked if they get there.
We got Creighton at 27, who's a little lower. They are injured. They have Ryan Nembhard out and probably lost another player for this Kansas game. So they're going to struggle with depth. And that's what Kansas has. They have plenty of depth, so that's going to be a tough matchup for Creighton. And I just don't think they're going to be able to shoot well enough to keep up with Kansas. But they have been playing really well even without Nembhard, and that's why they're at 27 and not lower.
26th, we got the Iowa State Cyclones. I guess the frauds are here to stay for at least another round. They were kind of lucky because both teams shot very poor in this game. And it seems like Iowa State just got the benefit of the doubt by making a few more shots. But Tyrese Hunter was the big name to remember for Iowa State in this game. 7 from 11 for 3. I think he dropped 25 total. So pretty much almost half of the team's points were through him. And they're going to need a repeat performance if they want to advance to the Sweet 16 against a really good Wisconsin team.
And we got Miami here at 25. Good win over USC, but tried to give it away in the end there. But we've been saying all season really that USC were kind of frauds. Auburn is going to be a lot tougher for them, but I do think it's a upset opportunity. And, they played really well for 35 minutes against USC, and that's why they're at 25. I just think their guards have been really great the last month. So they're a team to watch out for against Auburn.
24th, we got the Michigan State Spartans squeaking out a win against Davidson and against Foster Loyer, the old captain for the team. And how do they get rewarded with a Duke matchup? Coach K versus Izzo one last time. And I think the story is going to be is, can they keep up with Duke? We saw him kind of dominate Davidson down low in the paint, but now they got to go against a bigger opponent, of course, in Duke. And they won't be able to, use the same game plan as they did. So now they're going to have to depend on shooting the 3 ball, and I think that's where it gets kind of sketchy for Michigan State. But it should be a good game regardless, just because of the history between these two coaches.
We got Memphis at 23. They have all the talent in the world, and they're finally starting to put it together a little bit. They potentially could pull off an upset against Gonzaga, but it'll be really tough. I don't know how this team is going to be able to respond if they get down early. But good win over Boise State. Tried to give it away for a second, but pulled away at the end. And if they can keep it close with Gonzaga into the second half, you're going to have to start really keeping eyes on that game because they're a scary team.
22nd, we got the TCU Horned Frogs. And to my surprise, I thought it would be a closer game, but they beat them by 27 points in Seton Hall. And it was pretty much over in the first 10 minutes. But the big question going into the Arizona game is, can they dethrone them? I just think that TCU has the recipe to do so. We've seen them beat Kansas, Texas, Texas Tech in the Big 12. These big name teams that they've beat, and it seems like TCU just comes out of nowhere and pulls off the upset. It will be a good game, probably closer than many think, but I just don't see how Arizona, clicking on all cylinders right now, will lose to TCU.
We got Ohio State at 21. This is another team that's flying under the radar. As much as I, obviously I'm not a huge fan of this team, they're finally healthy, and their defense really just shut down a good shooting team in Loyola. So I think that's a team that could definitely upset Villanova there in the second round, especially all their guys are back now. They're playing well again. And I think you got to watch out for them going forward. It all goes through Liddell. If he can have a big game, they can beat really anybody.
20th, we got the Murray State Racers, only moving up one spot. They did squeak out an OT win against San Francisco. And now with Kentucky out, they have a much easier path to the Elite Eight, because more than likely, if they face Kentucky, it would not be a good matchup and more than likely go home. But now with them out of the picture, they were in the easier division or easier bracket of the four. And I really don't see how they can, necessarily get eliminated in a game where, they're for sure out, essentially. They will be in every game to the Elite Eight. I think if they can get past St. Peter's here, survive the upset again, Murray State is a team that really could go to the Elite Eight and possibly even a Final Four.
All right, Texas comes in at 19. Finally put together a complete performance, for about 38 minutes against Virginia Tech. Let them back in it, but crazy shot from Marcus Carr, half quarter to end the first half. And Texas is a team, they could potentially match up well with Purdue because they defend so well. And obviously Purdue does not defend well at all. So it'll be interesting to see how that matchup goes. But now that they're playing well again, playing up to their talent, you got to watch out for Texas.
18th, we got the Illinois Fighting Illini. And right now, the biggest thing that they have are the three words of survive and advance. They really played great defense on the last possession, got the block, and then Malachi Smith somehow got the ball, pump faked, had a wide open jump shot for the win, and just short, which led Illinois to be in this video and to the round of 32. They only led for what I think it was 20 seconds in this game, and it doesn't matter because they escaped, they got the victory, and you move on. They are not favored, which was kind of a surprise to me, against Houston. I think if I was a bettor, I would be taking the spread or money line for Illinois. I'm just very confident in Illinois to make a run to the Sweet 16 at least, because Houston, their guard play has been questionable at times, and now with Kofi Coburn in the picture, it's always tough to defend him. So Illinois, I think, will have a good day on offense and get past Houston as well.
All right, 17 is UCLA, another team that survived and advanced. Tough matchup against Akron, where they trailed a lot of the second half and came back at the end, got through. Now they have another tough defensive team in St. Mary's that they could potentially struggle with. But it all comes down to ISO ball, it seems like, for them. They play a lot of one-on-one basketball. And if guys aren't hitting mid-range jumpers, then they tend to struggle. So something to watch out for going forward. This is a team that has a ceiling of potentially a national championship, but could just as easily lose to St. Mary's.
16th, we got the North Carolina Tar Heels, who are about to tip off in about 10 minutes. And I really think they can pull the upset today. I'm very confident. As you can see, they absolutely throttled Marquette by 32 points. And if a one seed were to lose in the round of 32, I think it would be North Carolina to do it to Baylor. It seems like the most susceptible one. And they're really going to have to go through Brady Manick again if they really want to pull off this upset. And Baycott, he'll play great as well. And it'll be a close game for sure. And don't be too surprised if you see North Carolina in our next video.
We got Houston here at 15, who kind of dominated UAB for a majority of that game, a game that I thought was probably going to be a close matchup. And they're definitely a scary team. It seems like the last few tournaments, they've really been able to put it together, make deep runs, and it's just a team that plays really physical. And for some reason, they're just a really great tournament team the last 4 or 5 years. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do beat Illinois, especially because Illinois has had no tournament success for about 15 years. So watch out for Houston. If they can rebound the ball really well against Illinois, I think the Illini are going to be in trouble.
14th, we got the Providence Friars, who I picked against. Should have never bet against my Friars. And now they get 12 seed Richmond, and I think it's a very favorable matchup for them as well. It'll be a close game, of course, because it always is for Providence. But are they on upset alert? Yeah, because Richmond beat Iowa, who a lot of people had going to the Final Four. They weren't even supposed to be in the tournament until they won the A10 on the last day. And I think Richmond's luck's going to run out. Providence is going to go to the Sweet 16. And, they want to win me some more money if they make it to the Final Four. So we got to ride the Friars out here.
We got Arkansas here at 13. Another dangerous team, but another team that could just as easily lose today. It's a hard team to figure out. Shot a lot of free throws against Vermont, which helped them scrape by, win by 4. I think they'll get by New Mexico State, but then they're going to have their work cut out for them in every game after that. And I think they're going to struggle with Gonzaga if they end up matching up with them. But they're still a very athletic team, and if they can shoot the ball really well, there's not a lot of teams that they can't beat.
Well, we got the Wisconsin Badgers, a team that I thought was going to get upset to Colgate, who matched up very well with them. But I think the big thing was they are still second in the nation with fewest turnovers, and you really saw that against Colgate, which led them to win that game. It wasn't really anything spectacular of their play. Survive and advance. It's March Madness, and I think that's what Wisconsin wants. They might burn the tape from this game because they didn't play too well, but they still escaped with the victory, and they get an Iowa State team that shouldn't really even be in the tournament if we're talking about last year, still with those 2 wins. But it's a favorable matchup for Wisconsin, and I think they will move on to the Sweet 16, and you'll see them next week.
They're at home, basically. We got St. Mary's here at 11 after absolutely destroying Indiana in the first round, a team I thought would beat St. Mary's. So really impressive win for them. That's why they jumped 7 spots this week. And they're a dark horse team. If they could get by UCLA, potentially they'd match up with North Carolina if an upset happens there. You never know. The path is there for them. And if they can beat UCLA, then they go, I think, to California, and they'd have somewhat of a home court advantage in the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8. So it's just a team to keep your eye on. They really can slow down the game, and they play really efficient on offense. So dangerous team.
10, we got the Auburn Tigers. A little sketchy in the first half before I think it was 18-0 run before half and after halftime. And after that, it was pretty much over. And Miami could be an upset for them. Miami can match up well, but I think the bigs are what's going to be the pivotal matchup for Auburn. And if Walker Kessler can repeat his performance and Jabari Smith as well, I really don't see how this Tiger team doesn't make it to the Sweet 16.
We got Purdue here at number 9. Easy win over Yale. Just completely dominated that game. And Jaden Ivey, another huge tournament game. And going forward, I think Texas could be a tough matchup for them. But if you look at their bracket, it really lines up well for them to get to the Elite 8. Obviously, their path right now is looking like Texas and then Murray State, 2 games that Purdue will be easily favored to win, but you never know in March. But either way, they have the path, they have the talent. Now it's just, can they put it together, because they haven't been able to in past years.
8th, we got the Texas Tech Red Raiders. I didn't even watch any of this game until one of the other games were over. And I turned it there, and they were already up 20 in the first half. Largest win in school history in March Madness by 35. Most points scored a year this game. They shot 67.7% from the field, so making 2 out of every 3 shots. And this is a team that's not known for putting up big numbers on their side in the point side. They're known for keeping those teams around 60 like they did. And I think that's going to be a great thing for this Texas Tech team. Only good things come from when you score a lot of points. And I don't see them, having a repeat performance of 97 points. But against Notre Dame, I think they'll limit them probably around 60 again. And I think Texas Tech will probably win by 10 to 15 there as well.
All right, we got Tennessee at 7, another 3 seed, absolutely blowing past their first round matchup in Longwood. That game was over very early in the first half, and they also shot 60% from the field. So another really good shooting team. They're one of the hottest teams in the country right now, and a team no one really wants to face, which is why it's not great that Michigan's facing them. But either way, they're definitely a team that could win the national championship. I can say that with confidence. They have that ceiling, but they haven't. They're another team like Purdue that struggled in tournaments recently. So we'll see if they can make it happen this year.
6th, we got the Baylor Bears. Nothing to report against Norfolk State, but now they have a matchup where they could get upset in UNC. And I think if they want to win this game, they're going to have to repeat performance against Norfolk, score in the 80s, and have it be a team effort rather than just one guy. But the Bears, they have deserved this number 1 seed for a while now, but let's see if they can back it up today against UNC.
We got Duke here at number 5, getting the matchup now with Michigan State, a team who obviously beat them the last time they matched up March. So could be an interesting matchup. I do think they're definitely on upset alert. That's no question a game Michigan State could win. But I have Duke getting past that game in most of my brackets. I just think the talent across the board and the size for Duke is going to be too much. But they have a lot of question marks still, even after that first round win, the way they got absolutely dominated by Virginia Tech in the ACC tournament. So I don't know if they're going to be able to get past Texas Tech, but you can never count out Duke, especially in Coach K's last season.
4, we got the Villanova Wildcats. Really wasn't a game against Delaware. Colin Gillespie had a great game, of course, because he's been there for 15 years. And Jay Wright, obviously, is a great coach as well. I'm not gonna lie, this is one of the teams I picked to win a bracket in a big pool I'm in, and I'm the only person to take Villanova in the pool to win it all. So I'm really kind of cheering for Villanova here to win it all now. Either them or Texas Tech, as you guys saw in the other video. But they do have a favorable matchup against Ohio State. Ohio State doesn't have too many shooters where Villanova does, and Villanova has the bigs to back up and guard EJ Liddell. So it is a good matchup for Villanova there, but don't be too surprised if this Villanova team is yet to make another run to the Final Four.
All right, Kansas comes in here at number 3. Another easy win for them as they easily get past Texas Southern. Now they get Creighton, the team I think they match up really well with and should get past that. They definitely did not have an easy bracket, but now that Iowa's out, I think it lines up pretty well for them. Auburn could be a tough matchup, but if Auburn gets upset before they play, then I think Kansas should easily get to the Final Four. I think they would easily beat Wisconsin. But going forward, I think they just have so much depth that they're definitely a top 3 team. I don't think there's any arguing that, and they're definitely a team that could win the national championship.
At 2, moving down one from the number 1 ranking, we have the Gonzaga Bulldogs. And I think this is just due in part for them struggling for the first 30 minutes of the game. I know they won by 21 and almost still even covered the spread. But you got to take into account that if they can struggle those first 30 minutes and it's a close game against a 16 seed, you never know what's going on with that team. Are they a little overhyped? Maybe. We don't really know. It's one of those years where there's no super consistent team. But you still got to give them these top 2 rankings just because of what they've done this year so far. They do face a red-hot Memphis team who's won 13 out of their last 15, and they're going to be balls to the wall here for this game. And I really think Memphis could give them a game, but it's Gonzaga, Chet Holmgren, Drew Timme. We know how they play. They're going to come out and at least score 20 apiece. And Gonzaga's obviously going to be favored as well, but it will be a good game, and give the Bulldogs another run to the Sweet 16.
All right, we have a new number 1 for the round of 32, and it's Arizona. Played a tough 16 seed in Wright State, who can really score the ball, and they got past them fairly easily. And now you have TCU matching up with them, but Arizona, another team like Kansas, they don't quite have the depth of Kansas, but they have potentially more talent than Kansas, as you have Matherin at guard along with Dalen Terry. They have Coloco at center. So they are just absolutely loaded this year. And I think they definitely could win the national championship. I said it the last few teams, but tough region, I would say, for Arizona. They'll have to go through some combination of Villanova, Tennessee, Illinois, or Houston, all really good teams. But if they get to the Final Four, I think they should probably win the championship. I think right now they're playing better than anyone in the country.
And that's gonna be it for the video. Make sure you guys tune in next week to see where we rank all the Sweet 16 teams as well. Hit that subscribe button as we'll be doing our giveaway soon of the autographed item. But until the next time, Bench Buddies are out.
She never called back.